What's up, everyone? Bass here. So I recently just ran across an article claiming that the Packers will sign Diontae Johnson from the Steelers in 2023. Yeah, you heard that right. In 2023, not 2022. Since Diontae Johnson is currently a Steeler and under contract, but he is set to be a free agent next year in 2023. So I just wanted to quickly react to this article and break it down a little bit, as it's pretty absurd to me. Now, this statement did source from The Athletic, but it's also posted on a bunch of sites. I'm reading the article on SteelerNation.com. It's also in Fansided and a bunch of other sites. But it says, the Pittsburgh Steelers have quite the dilemma on their hands as star wide receiver Diontae Johnson enters his final season before his free agency. After the extension of safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, Johnson seemed to be the next in the pecking order. All signs seem to be pointing to the Steelers not paying Johnson and allowing him to enter free agency in 2023. Mark Kaboly, Steelers beat reporter for The Athletic, not only predicts Johnson to be gone after the season, but also gave a destination. Quote, he will sign with the Green Bay Packers next year for $93 million over 4 years, end quote. Now, before I give my thoughts on that statement, I want to say myself, this is obviously smoke. I doubt there's any factual basis to this. Just wanted to get that out of the way before I go over this. Firstly, like I said, Diontae Johnson is under contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers for 2022. Talking with a team about signing a year from now simply isn't happening, and even if it was, it would clearly be tampering. Now, what I see way more likely, which I still don't see happening with the Packers, is a trade for Diontae Johnson, as it seems the Steelers are clearly not wanting to pay him the money he wants. But this reporter wildly already has a contract value for Diontae Johnson for a year from now, which is just hilarious to me. 4 years, $93 million, which is $23.25 million per year, which is pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy amount for a wide receiver who's only topped 1,000 yards once last year. In his entire career. But for the sake of this video, I do want to talk a little bit about Diontae Johnson, as he very well could be on the trade block and likely will be a free agent in 2023 if no team trades for him. Diontae's a 26-year-old, 3-year wide receiver drafted in the 3rd round of the 2019 draft out of Toledo, and he's had a pretty progressive career thus far in Pittsburgh. 680 yards, 5 touchdowns his rookie year, then 923 yards, 7 touchdowns his second year, and then last year, most recently, 1,161 yards and 8 touchdowns, his best year yet. And Diontae clearly has shown promise and improvement, so for the right price, he likely would be a good trade value. With no clear quarterback one in Pittsburgh between Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, Diontae Johnson could easily hold out after the Steelers aren't willing to pay him and demand a trade. And with the Steelers drafting George Pickens and Calvin Austin in this most recent draft, they would likely welcome a trade for Diontae Johnson for the right price. Now, would Green Bay go out and trade for someone like Diontae Johnson? That I doubt. But for the right price, I wouldn't mind it. I think he would at least cost a 3rd rounder, considering once you trade for him, then you got to strike a deal with him, a long-term extension, which would likely cost at least $20 million per year. If a trade like that happened, the Packers would instantly shore up their shaky wide receiver room right now. And I say shaky because they don't have a clear number 1 wide receiver. That's not saying someone like Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson could break out onto the scene and become a really good rookie in their first year. But as of right now, we haven't seen any of these guys in pads. We haven't seen any of these guys against actual other NFL defenses, so that's a sight to be seen. But this trade could shore up their wide receiver room with a young, promising wide receiver, not an old wide receiver like Julio Jones or Odell Beckham with injury concerns. But then again, like I said, they just drafted 3 young wide receivers in the past draft. That's why I just don't see this happening. I think the Packers are very content with who they have in their wide receiver room. Aaron Rodgers said this yesterday. I think they like who they have. They already signed a free agent in Sammy Watkins. They have a couple veteran guys and Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb, of which Aaron Rodgers trusts a lot. And then, of course, the 3 rookies, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Samori Toure, all promising wide receiver prospects with each their own abilities. Looking forward to see those 3 guys play this season. So I just don't see the Packers really going out signing or trading for someone just yet. But you can never say never. Theoretically, yes, this could happen. But that does it for this. I just wanted to go over that article because it was really crazy to me, and it's wild how something like this gets posted. I mean, how do you have a contract value for a free agent a year from now? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I just wanted to talk a little bit about it and maybe the potential of Diontae Johnson getting traded as well and what that would look like. But what are your thoughts on this? Would you welcome a trade for Diontae Johnson or wait and see what happens this year with the Packers and their current wide receivers? But of course, if you are new here and want more Packers news, analysis, and updates, please consider going down, clicking the subscribe button, and also leaving a like on the video. I also just recently opened a Patreon for this channel. I have big things planned for that, so if you want to go check that out, just click the link down in the description. And speaking of Patreon, also wanted to give a quick shout out to new Patreon member Grant Golson. But that about does it for this one. I'll catch you on the next one. As always, go Pack Go.